What's up, guys? So today I wanted to go over a weekend project I took up where I analyzed a 40-hour stream from a Twitch streamer who goes by TrainwrecksTV. I've been watching him for the past few weeks, and recently he's been playing these 30 to 40 hour streams of just playing slot games on stake. And the reason I wanted to do this analysis was for two reasons. The first was just for myself. I wanted to get a better understanding of how much he's winning or losing in the long term for these games. It's very hard to get that idea or that sense from his stream because all you're really seeing are his current balance and the bonuses that he's winning when he gets those free spins. And you don't really get an idea of just how much he's winning or losing in the long run. So that's for me. And then the second reason is for anyone out there who might be tempted to sign up for this site. And when they go on YouTube or on Twitch and they're seeing all these streamers hit these insane bonuses from hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars, they might be tempted to sign up because they think maybe I might hit something like that. And maybe you might, but when you see how much they're winning or losing in the long run, I think it'll give you a better perspective on whether or not you want to play games on sites like Stake. So before I go over this analysis, some edge cases. So the first edge case that I want to go over with this analysis is that some games like Blackjack or Plinko are not counted. And then the second one is that there was one particular slot game that he plays called Hotel Yetiway, which was a little more difficult to measure correctly because of the weird fonts. It was only partially measured. I think if I wanted to fix that in the long run, it would require me to take the individual digits of that weird font that it uses, map it to the correct digit, and then train Tesseract, which is the image library I was using, to use that training data. But that just sounded way too painful, and I just wanted to do this over a weekend, so I didn't bother. And what it could get correctly, I took those, and then the rest I discarded. So with that out of the way, let's kind of go over some basic stats out of his stream. So in this 40-hour stream, which was I think back in January 4th, out of 40 hours, he spent 30 hours of those 40 hours playing slots. Now, let's go over some of the bonuses that he won, or juicers as he likes to call them. If we look at all the bonuses over 100K that he won in the stream, it's a fair amount. He actually won something like 66 bonuses in the stream, which is quite a bit. That's more than one per hour. And if you look at the total sum of all the bonuses that he won in the stream, he won over $15 million just from the bonuses in the stream, which is an astronomical amount of money. Now, if I told you someone played slots for 40 hours with $1,000 to $1,500 spins, and he won $15 million in bonuses, it would be very tempting to come up with the conclusion that he came out ahead. But as we'll see later, you'll see that that's not the case. And the average bonus across all these bonuses was something like 237,000, which is insane. And across all these bonuses, I think I could only find one where he won over $1 million, and it was around the 10-hour, 51-minute mark, which I marked in this stream, and we can look at it together.
Oh, half a mil, baby.
That's a mil. That's a
million.
Oh
my God, what?
Chill.
He actually won a little more than that because he had 8 more free spins left in that bonus. But yeah, that was one instance where he won over $1 million off of a bonus, which is insane. If we look at the amount of bonuses he won across all of the games, he won the most on Wanted Dead or Wild, followed by the Doghouse. Those were the two biggest winners that he played during that stream. He's a big fan of the Doghouse. I noticed across multiple streams he tends to play this a lot, which I also like to watch. It's very cute seeing those big dogs in the slot game. And if we look at the amount of time he's spending in that 40-hour stream, same idea. Wanted Dead or Wild. He put in over 8 hours just in that game, followed by almost 5 hours for the Doghouse, and then Hotel Yoriway, which is what I talked about earlier, in third place with a little over 4 hours. So those are kind of the upsides or the bonuses. You know, when we talk about like the bonuses and the profits that he made in the stream. Now let's talk about the downsides. This graph, well, it's not really a downside, but it's something I wanted to show before I adjust for deposits and withdrawals. If you go to his stream and you look at his balance over over the frames, it never dips below 0, because once he nears that amount and he doesn't have enough for a spin, he goes to his vault and then makes a depot, as he likes to call it, to increase more money and then make more spins. And then also, he whenever he gets a jackpot or a bonus, he'll also stash some of that away into his vault as well. So when we don't take that into account and we just look at the balance over time, it just looks something like this, which doesn't really tell the viewer very much. But if we do account for those and we can figure out when those deposits and withdrawals happen, and then we adjust this balance based on those deposits and withdrawals, it tells a very interesting story. And you can see here that in the end of this stream, he ends up being down $4.5 million, something like that, which is crazy, right? Like, he won $15.6 million from these bonuses, 66 bonuses, $1,000 to $1,500 in these max spins. And yet, despite that, he comes out down over $4 million, which is crazy. In the beginning, he actually does reasonably okay. When he goes down to, he's down 500K, goes up 500K, ends up being up $1 million at one point. And then he just goes on this terrible run. Ironically, it was Wanted, Dead or Wild, that got him down to 2 million, and then tanked even further, a little over 3/4 of the way into his stream. And like, yeah, here's one example of a bad run where around the 18-minute mark he was at about $447,000. We can go around that point, we might see something like that. Yeah, so he was around $447,000, and then in the span of less than 2 hours, he basically loses all of it. Like, you can see he starts at 430, and it just keeps going down.
Rejoining it, keeps making that
down, and then he just ends up losing all of it, even with the free spin that he gets in the middle of that, or maybe even 2 free spins that he got. So, and if we break this down by game, the thing that's interesting is that the 2 games that he won the most amount of time in, the 2 games that he spent the most amount of time in as well, also happened to be the 2 games where he lost the most amount of money, which tells it's a very telling story, right? He made the most amount from the bonuses, and he spent the most amount of time on it, but he ended up losing the most amount as well. Wanted, Dead or Wild, and the Doghouse. So what can we conclude from this? And also I just want to throw out there, he ends up making some profit from some of these other games, but they don't take into account as well, like the amount of time like some of these games he spent like less than 10 minutes playing. So, you know, in the short run you can make a profit, but in the long run you will not make a profit in this game. Slots is designed by nature to be a losing game for the players. Now, I don't think it's fair to conclude that therefore for streamers like Train or Rothstein that they are necessarily losing, because we don't know how much like what kind of contractual obligation or how much they're being staked by stake.com, what that looks like. But for the 99.99% of you out there who are not staked by Stake or these other crypto gambling sites and are just playing with their hard-earned money, it makes no sense to play on these sites. You will lose money in the long run. And even with these insane bonuses, and you go to his site and you go to like all of his like his clips where he's winning 5.7 million, 1.7 million, 640k, and so on. In the long run, you will end up losing money. So I hope this video, if it convinces at least one other person out there to not play these kind of games, and for myself, it gives me a better understanding of how much he's winning or losing in the long term. I think I might take my program and also run it on some of his other 40-hour sessions, as well as some of Rothstein's sessions as well, just to get a fuller picture of what that looks like. Even though I think just from the 140-hour stream, it already tells a very interesting story. Yeah, so in conclusion, don't play slots on these kind of sites, guys. It's really not worth it. And I know Train, he puts up on his stream that you shouldn't play, and he plays that video clip saying you shouldn't play. But I hope this analysis just really drives home that point, that it's not worth playing these kind of games. So thank you for watching.